Welcome to Common Curiosities Retirement, where we aim to help people learn financial strategies they may want to use in their own life, all while trying to avoid the intimidation or boredom of classic financial meetings. Here's your host, my husband, Michael Custer. All right, so welcome back to the podcast. It is November while we are recording this. And November means some sports, Thanksgiving, football. In my family, it means that volleyball is probably picking up. And also for us, it means that Michael's middle school basketball is picking up. So we decided that this, handful of podcasts, we would deem our sports.
Thumbs up.
Whoa, thumbs up. Indeed. I mean, it's a thumbs up kind of thing. We would call these our little sporty moments. So we are representing some teams. So I have a Sandy Teagues t-shirt to LSU. So I have a sister that plays beach volleyball, hence the Sandy Tigers at LSU. So I'm representing her today. Michael, who are you representing?
Representing the 8th grade green team at Jennison Middle School boys basketball. Currently, we're 3-0. Big win last night.
Huge win last night.
Big win last night. Yep. Kids played great.
Yeah. So keep watching for more sports gear to come. So in this podcast, we are going to hash out a question that I have based on some things that I've seen on social media and kind of heard in conversations. So something that I've kind of heard is, I guess, something that you hear a lot on social media if you are in the right algorithm are these different financial hacks.
Yep.
Whether they're actually hacks or not is up for debate. But a hack or a thing that I've heard is if you pay on your mortgage every other week instead of monthly, it will help you pay off your home maybe 5 years sooner. It will save you maybe tens of thousands of dollars on interest. So there are some benefits potentially.
Yep.
As I heard, to making twice monthly or every other week payments as opposed to once monthly payments. Is there any truth to this? What are the pros and cons kind of here? Or what can you say as far as this goes?
Yes. This is one that you're seeing, I would say, has some validity to it. Is it some super duper secret hack? I'd probably say no, but it is something that I would say quite a few people actually use. So if you pay your mortgage biweekly, so twice a month essentially, you could pay it off in, I think the average is like 4 to 6 years on a 30-year mortgage.
Okay.
And the 4 to 6 years varies based on if what your interest rate is. So how that works is, okay, well, you pay a little bit less in interest for the fact that you're paying like 2 weeks ahead of time. So if you have an interest and you pay it a little sooner, you'd pay a little less interest on that. The bigger one there is essentially you're making 13 payments instead of 12. People don't realize it because there's more weeks than the months of, okay, if I pay it bi-weekly, I'm making like 26 payments where that would be 13-month payments. So you're essentially making one extra payment a year.
Okay.
So you would there have the potential, I have to say potential, but I would say you're probably going to save tens of thousands at least on your interest. So yeah, I would say that's a true, I don't know if it's a hack, but that's a true thing you can do. Now, does the mortgage company tell everybody, hey, go do this? I would say probably not, but you can ask them and see if they're willing to do that.
So they would have to be willing. I can't just do it. It has to be something that they will accept.
Yeah, I would double check it before I sign on the dotted line if I'm hoping to use that. I would say most of them are going to let you do it, but I would assume some of them might say no, but I would think most of them are going to allow you to do that. And then I would say make sure your payments go to the principal. So sometimes people make extra payments, but unless you tell them, it might not go directly to your principal. It kind of goes in this like escrow account. So if you miss a payment, they'll kick it in for you, but that's not going down to principal. So I have seen that mistake a little bit there.
So you want it to chip away at the actual mortgage. That's what principal means that we're paying on the money that we took out, the mortgage that we have.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if you took out $500,000 for your mortgage, say, hey, this one, I want to go back to that principal that I took out instead of just having it sit there in case I miss an extra payment there.
Yeah.
But it kind of should you do it? I think for some people it works great because a lot of times they don't even realize it. It's a forced savings. So like for them, it works great. Other people, it kind of goes back to the question we talk about a lot. Okay, if my mortgage is 3-4%, do I want to pay on that faster, or would I rather stretch that out? There's those two different ideas there. But yeah, if you're trying to pay it off as quick as possible, I think the biweekly might be a great option.
Yeah. And so kind of what you're saying, you get one more payment in a year because some months have 5 weeks. It's not always when you're doing it bi-week or every other week, you're kind of
Correct.
paying more frequently than just paying once a month. So you end up paying one more payment, which is nice. And then so you save money on interest because you're paying more off on the principal. So since interest is a percent of the principal, there's less percent.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
lower because it's a percentage of a smaller number. So that's how you're
Correct.
saving on the interest.
So let's say I'm rounding numbers, 500,000 at a 3-4%, you're paying 20,000 or something in interest. Well, if I can get it to that mortgage, I don't have 500 left. I go to 499, 498. That 3, 4, 5% interest doesn't get
Yeah.
applied to that principal that I paid down a little quicker. Because if you actually look at an amortization schedule, seeing how much do I pay in interest versus principal, especially
Mhm.
that first decade on your home, most of your payment is going to the interest.
Interest.
And
Yeah.
so people say, well, if I can get my principal down, I could pay that quicker and pay less interest.
Yeah. Would this apply to other loans, like student loans, car loans, things like that?
Correct. Yep. So the sooner you like, especially this is a big one for credit cards because
Mm,
credit card interests are very, very high typically.
yeah.
Unless you're making big chunk payments, it's very hard because the interest is accumulating so quickly. So with those,
Mhm.
we got to try to do everything we can to get those paid off as soon as possible because otherwise they just continue to accumulate. But same thing for car loans. The sooner you can get that principal paid down, the less in interest you're going to pay over time. Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. Well, thanks for answering and tune in next time for more sports attire and fun questions. Thanks for watching.
Let's make sure we're on the same page. This is general educational info, not personal advice. We don't know your goals or financial situation. Before making any decisions, it's always recommended to talk to a qualified professional who can tailor guidance to your specific needs after learning more about you. Here are some more exciting disclosures to help make this even more clear. This information is not intended to be a substitute for specific individualized tax or investment advice. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA/SIPC. Investment advice offered through Harborfront Financial Group, a registered investment advisor. Harborfront Financial Group and Custer Financial Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial. Investment advice will only be given after a client engages our services by executing the appropriate investment services agreement. Harborfront Financial Group DBA Custer Financial Advisors CFA is a registered investment advisor RIA. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training, and the content of this communication has not been approved or verified by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission or by any state securities authority. Custer Financial Advisors renders individualized investment advice to persons in a particular state only after complying with the state's regulatory requirements or pursuant to an applicable state exemption or exclusion. All investments carry risk. No investment strategy can guarantee a profit or protect from loss of capital. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Advisory services offered through Harborfront Financial Group, CRD number 331763,